Only traveling less than 100 miles now as we stay in the same state, leaving Concord, North Carolina, and heading to Rockingham, where the Rock, a track that is a little bit over a mile long and banked up to 25 degrees. Nick has 6 wins on the year and 2 wins in a row, and already the quickest time in practice. Can he get 3 wins in a row to solidify his position in the championship standings? Or are we going to see another driver take it to victory lane? What do you think, Marshall?
Oh, well, as always when we head to the ovals, it really does become an interesting situation, especially when we get a few stints of, a couple in a row. I mean, last week we went to, trying to remember, one of those interesting tracks there, Charlotte. So it was actually something a little bit more, we were just talking about pre-race, a little bit more symmetrical, like a little bit more cookie cutter. It kind of feels like it was very carefully traced. Those tracks can lend themselves to some interesting racing because to any driver, they're easy to pick up. You can get out there, you've run one corner, you know how to run the other two. So it's easier to get up to speed. It's easier to figure out the track. Whereas Rockingham tonight, it was the word we just used there, Evan, pre-race, but personality. I mean, Rockingham as a track has tons of personality. It's got kind of that rustic feel because you made a great point. It's kind of from that era before it was easy to really measure out those tracks, make them nice and symmetrical, like Charlotte last week or like the week before when we went to Darlington a few weeks before. So it's a lot different of a venue than anything we've run this season, but I think the fact that it is so asymmetrical and it is so unique and each corner is differently carved out, as we'll see when we see the guys start their qualifying laps, I think it lends itself a little bit more to practice, a little bit more to finesse and technique. And I think when you talk about finesse and technique, you just talked about him, but a guy like Nick Nickerson is going to be good at that. Cody Welch ran a great time there in practice. So far, Mason Flager also, we should mention, ran a great lap there. So it's those guys that are really going to pick up lap times here, maybe more so than the ability to run in packs that is usually more helpful, more akin to like a road course than an oval. So I think tonight's going to be kind of the most road coursey oval race of our season, and I think in that regard, maybe Nick will do well, but maybe we'll see a new face. I mean, it's going to be chaotic, but I think a good kind of chaotic, and I can't wait to get the second race of the round started.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be excited, but before we get going here, 2 minutes, 45 seconds left in practice, and if you guys were here last week and you saw a little incident there at the end, the 51 car and the 99 car, 51 car ended up causing an accident between the 99 after the checkered flag was thrown. Well, that was his second incident of the season, and the driver of the 51 car, Curtis Yancey, will be sitting out the rest of the season. He'll be eligible to race the All-Star race because that's not a points-paying race, but for the rest of the season, he is going to be spotting for the driver of the 48 car. Also, Brandon Jackson, if you're a fan of his Twitch stream, then welcome to the broadcast here. I'm sure this is probably where you're watching because he's not able to broadcast on Twitch tonight after some of the things that he said there. So just a couple little penalties, nothing big. But now we're getting ready to go into the race here at Rockingham. And let's go ahead and take a look at our points once I can get them pulled up, because we didn't look at the points after last race. We were waiting till they got updated. They are updated now. And if I pull them up here, there we go. That isn't correct. There we go. Nick Nickerson up at the top of the board in points, 2,190. Then you got Cody Welch, Brandon Jackson, Benjamin Lacey, Ricky Hart Jr., Brett Guzik, Curtis Yancey, and Garrett Hall all in the playoffs right now. Of course, Curtis Yancey in the playoffs, but he will be falling out since he's not going to be eligible to race the rest of the season. So Garrett Hall going to move up a spot. Garrett essentially in 7th position right now. So that's 7 drivers all vying for the top 4 spots we've got tonight. And then we have Talladega next week, and that's going to be it for the cutoff for our round of 4. So after Talladega next week, it'll just be 4 drivers that get through and are able to race in that final round. Here, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. That way you guys can see just a little bit more info. And if you guys are interested in looking at this yourself, you can look up danlisa.com. That's DANLISA.com. Go into the top right, there's a search bar. Look up Bandit Racing League. That's where you can find all this information to view for yourself. We're going to head back to the action on track right as practice is wrapping up. And there's Kevin Foster, the driver of the 8 car. Right as practice is going to wrap up, and we're going to get into qualifying. But real quick, before we get going with qualifying, a big thank you to our sponsor for tonight's race. This is the Sandhills 125. Of course, this is the Sandhills area of North Carolina that Rockingham is located at. But it is the Sandhills 125 presented by C&R Machining. C&R Machining is a CNC machine shop located in Troy, North Carolina. They do work for some NASCAR teams and other shops that provide pressure vessels to customers. And they don't have any social media or anything like that, but he does have 20 plus years of experience. And if you want to get in contact with him, you can email him at crmachining@outlook.com. That is crmachining@outlook.com. So thank you to Benny Hogan. That's the driver of the 88 car that sponsored tonight's race. So we've already got some drivers on track. Connor Sawyer going to be one of the first ones in that 48 car. So we're going to follow along with him.
Yeah, and we'll get a great look here at the Rockingham Oval, or the Rockingham Speedway, as it is more properly known. And you really get a good idea for how unique this track is. You see not only the late starting line there, as you cross the finish line right before the entry to turn 1, rather than a little ways before, like in a traditional 50-cutter oval. Now coming into turn number 2, a heavily banked corner onto the backstretch here with not very much inside padding. It can truly be catastrophic to have any incident there because there's not much grass or anything like that to slow you down. You come off the final corner, but it is angled in a different way than the first corner because it has to come to a different spot on the tri-oval. Of course, the late tri-oval entry again across the finish line, you start again. So it was a quick lap. Probably going to run in the mid-24s, maybe low 24s if you're some drivers here most of the day. So going to be quick lap times here, but certainly not a track that you can really get into a rhythm with. It's just so many different corners. It's going to be very interesting on tires. I'm really unfamiliar personally with the longer tire stints here at a track like Rockingham. So as you see Brett Guzik finishing up here, he's one of our playoff drivers. He goes second provisionally on the timing board. We're just waiting for Benjamin Lacey to come across. He's in the fight for the final 4 spots in the championship at the final round. He's going to go 6th on his first lap. Benjamin Lacey with 2 wins on the season. We know he has what it takes to get wins done here at some of these certain ovals on the season. Both of his wins this year have come on the oval discipline. So yeah, again, it's close. Like from a naked eye, and you watch him on the onboard, it may not look too particularly different, but really that tri-oval shape is very unique. It's a very weird oval here at Rockingham, and I know from a driver's perspective, it's kind of in that uncanny valley where it just barely feels a little bit weird. But even that slightest difference from a traditional oval you're used to as a driver can really throw you off over the longer course of the runs when you're really trying to settle into a rhythm here in a long race.
Now here we've got Ricky Hart Jr. We're going to go ahead and switch to a cockpit cam for Ricky Hart Jr. as he takes his qualifying laps around.
Yeah, Ricky Hart, a guy that really needs to have a good race today at Rockingham. I mean, second round of this particular round of the championships, he's doing well in the points, but he is just barely out of that top 4 spot. I believe he sits just behind, I think Benjamin Lacey is the cutoff there for the top 4. So Ricky Hart tonight, we know he has what it takes based on previous seasons and this year to be consistently good at the ovals. We know he can score points, but tonight really has to kick it up a gear, just like he did at Atlanta, to try to go for his second win of the season. And we know he has the capability to find that extra gear, but he's really got to get it locked down here. So this qualifying lap will be telling as to his pace tonight at Rockingham. Waiting for him to come across the line now. Can't remember the last time he didn't qualify top 5 in an oval, but that first lap doesn't look like he will. He's going to be mired in 11th place at the moment, which is still a great qualifying lap. But man, you got to think if you're the driver of the number 64 car and you're looking to go to the front here at a very chaotic oval, might be tough to pass in certain sections. Well, that'll make his night a little bit tougher, but still not a bad performance.
Here we got Bill Harkins sitting in 15th position right now, and I believe that's where he is going to stay, the Ashtabula, Ohio native. See, the only driver on track that hasn't put down a time is going to be Alan Castle. 14 race starts on the season, a 31-year-old from Mount Juliet, Tennessee. We'll watch him as he takes his lap. Sitting in 28th position after the first one. See Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway there on the hood of his Toyota Supra. We'll see if he can get down a quicker lap time for Castle Esports.
we saw there for him coming out of turn number 2, a similar issue to one that I've been having all week. The car can get really squirrely there off the exit to 2, the back end, and these Cup cars, or the Xfinity cars, I should say, particularly, just does not really want to cooperate out of those tight corners. And the transition there from the heavy banking to the flat racetrack can really throw the cars into a bit of a loop. And maybe with the new next-gen NASCARs they revealed today, maybe that'll be a little bit different. But no, in this current model, it is rough to take those corners. So I understand his troubles there, but I believe that Allen did get a lap put down, and at the end of the day, you really just want to have a lap there, and that'll leapfrog you ahead of the guys that didn't put one down. But here's Kevin Foster. Don't confuse him with Nick Nickerson's old paint scheme. Kevin just finishing up, and I believe we've now run out of time. We're going to come to the end. He'll still run 6th there in qualifying, so not a bad lap with his first attempt, but he will not have time to run a second.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to grid right here. Nick Nickerson, of course, going to start on the pole. Cody Welch going to be behind him, and let me go ahead and pull up the grid so you can see everybody. Like I said, Nick Nickerson and Cody Welch starting on your front row, both playoff drivers. Third place, Benny Hogan, driver of the 88 car in the race that he is sponsoring today. Then Tony Hilbrands in the 92 going to be in 4th, followed by Brett Guzik, Kevin Foster, Brandon Jackson, Mason Flagar, the 72 car in 8th position. Then Benjamin Lacey and Connor Sawyer to round out your top 10.
Starting off the 10s, we got Trey Ellis coming home in 11th in the qualifier tonight. Ricky Hart, we were just on board with. He will start in the 12th position, the second to final playoff driver in tonight's grid. Peter Murphy will start in 13th. Charles Oberg taking the 14th spot to his outside. Bill Harkins will start in 15th with Matt Crockett to his outside starting in 16th. Then we got David Leakey, Jason Greenwell in 17th and 18th respectively. Eric Andrews making his debut tonight. He will start just inside the top 20 with Mark Allen Bivens rounding it off.
In 21st, we got Eddie Hagge, driver of the 97 car. Then to his outside, Hunter Henry in the 94. Following him, Thomas Fensler in the 17 and Mitchell Sullivan in the 24th position. 25th is going to be Anthony Caetano, followed by Nick Dwarnick, then Victor Weaver, Alan Castle, Garrett Hall in 29th position, and Steve Ulrich in 30th, a new name there.
Then to round off our grid, we got Gary Wright and Terry Condis making up that final row for our even 32 drivers in tonight's event at Rockingham.
So nice to see a couple new faces. I believe we have 2 new faces. The 25 car of Steve Ulrich, a new name to me back there, and Eric Andrews, driver of the 5 car, sitting there in 19th position. I believe that's a new name. Haven't heard that one, but we're ready to get rolling here.
One notable absence I noticed here before we go green, Davey Hendricks, a pretty consistent fixture here in the series. The last couple races made his debut not too long ago, but has had an incredible start to the year, is absent tonight. So that is going to be one big shakeup to tonight's race order.
Yeah, that definitely will be a shakeup, and we're going to try something new for this race, or debuting it at this race. I've got a little drone cam that we're going to follow these guys around with on the pace laps and watch the green flag fly with. So on the back stretch now, going through Thunder Alley. And then as we come through turns 3 and 4, you'll see Nick Nickerson and Cody Welch lead us to the green flag. Green flag now is going to be out. Nick Nickerson and Cody Welch leading us down into turn 1 here at Rockingham. The 88 car of Benny Hogan going to be following closely with the 92 to his outside.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's able to make it clean through the first couple of corners here. Let's see if we can go full green lap to start off the race here at a very tricky track like Rockingham, but a great first lap for race leader Nick Nickerson, clearing Cody Welch by a comfortable couple of car lengths there. So he is already putting his foot down here to start. But tonight's race sponsor, Benny Hogan, not only did he qualify in a very impressive 3rd, but he is holding it down right now. Him and Tony Hilbrands, as well as Brett Guzik, a playoff driver, continue to round out your top 5. And as far as the second lap goes, we're starting to get into a bit of a straight line pack here. Nobody really popping out of line here to make a pass. And, well, the only battle I'm really seeing on track right now, Eddie Hagge just went side by side with, I believe, Mark Allen Bivens. Sorry, that is Hunter Henry, I should say. So Hunter Henry will gain a spot off Betty Haggy that last time by. But other than that, guys, I think really starting to settle in, really trying to commit to their line and get this tough Rockingham track figured out.
Yeah, everybody fairly side by side right now as we go through. Ricciard Jr. and Peter Murphy, though, having a little bit of a battle here. The 72 of Mason Flagar up there on the outside in front of them. 64 making a spot on the 38. It looked like the 64 of Ricciard Jr. was going to be able to gain on that 72 of Mason Flagar, but now it looks like Flagar may be attacking Trey Ellis. No, maybe not 64. Goes down to the inside. Flagar, oh, and big trouble there. Charles A. Oberg, sideways.
Yeah, not seeing a caution as of yet, so the single car incident may not bring up the yellow there. But yeah, you saw that battle with Ricky Hart and Mason Flagar. I think just got a little bit loose here, but here is the replay of Charles Oberg's incident there in the O2 car. Same thing that happened to Alan Castle there in qualifying. Just gets a little bit loose there off the exit with the transition shifter on the banking, and these cars sometimes just do not handle it the way you expect. Wasn't able to correct it and takes a big chunk of that inside wall, though we will be able to make it back to the pits. Just unfortunately no yellow for him. I'm sure he would have liked one.
Yeah, great job from him to keep it down there off of the racing surface and away from everybody so that we could still go green here.
Just looking a little ways further back in the field, Hunter Henry is up 4 spots. Tonight's current biggest mover, tied with, making his debut tonight, Eric Andrews there in the number 5 car. An identical livery to the real-life Casey Kane entry in the NASCAR Cup Series. But yeah, here is Hunter Henry. 2 top 10s on the season, and you got to think if he could go for that again and try to make it 3 on the air, it'd be a pretty successful night for him. But always one of those guys that really seems to be in the conversation. We do talk about him plenty, and well, tonight the 94 car is surely going to be trying to make some more forward momentum, as he has already 4 spots up. And here at a track like Rockingham, that, as I said pre-race, does take a lot of skill to really figure out here, especially early in the event. Might be a sign of things to come for the number 94 car.
Charles A. Oberg, that 02 car, out of the pits now after 7.4 seconds. Got his fast repair and coming back out 31st position right now, so he has a long way to go, but definitely still plenty of time to get there.
Most certainly, but taking a look through at the field, really the best battle I can see on track right now is between Trey Ellis here and Mason Flagar. This is the battle for 9th, so the final 2 drivers in the top 10, neither a playoff driver, but both 2 guys that have had pretty consistent starts to tonight's event, and really the season as a whole. I mean, Trey, we saw him last week have a really big part there at Charlotte. Of course, the race sponsor, and we've seen kind of a pattern, haven't we, Evan, that the race sponsors always seem to be pretty quick at the races they do indeed sponsor, and Benny Hogan has proven us right again tonight in that theory, so maybe that was it. But, well, speaking of, whoa, big send there from Mason Flagar right before we got away. That was quite the entry there into turn 1. Isn't going to work out. He's going to be a little bit too fast coming off the exit, and he's going to have to woe it up for the outside wall down Thunder Alley that we've seen some guys have some troubles at tonight. So he's doing his very best to keep up with the back bumper of Trey Ellis. But yeah, Benny Hogan tonight, he's had some quiet performances in the last couple of races, but tonight's race sponsor, and he is keeping that trend going. A great top 3 spot right now.
Yeah, 72 car, Mason Flagar, he's doing a good job of being really aggressive here, looking at the back view of Trey Ellis. And you can see the 72 of Flagar, and he's being really aggressive, but let's just hope that he doesn't push it a little bit too far here one of these laps and go around. We've seen how loose these guys can get. Hopefully he can keep control of the car, but as of right now, 12 laps in, great job from the 72 car.
Yeah, he's peeking under there again in a corner 1. I really like what he's doing here. Just if you have the tires to deal with it, if you have that comfortable nature in the car where you're confident in your ability to woe it up before you hit the apex, where you know you aren't going to hit the guy in front, I say put the pressure there on the number 4 car, Trey Ellis. Remind him that you're there. Don't let him settle into a groove, and that'll make it the already tough job of finding a groove here at a track like Rockingham that is so asymmetrical. Makes that job even harder.
Yeah, and really, like I said, this is the closest battle on the track. I believe only a couple more here. We've got Nick Dwornik, 63 car, heading under the 10 of Matt Crockett, making the pass here for 18th position. Right now in another close battle here with the 84 car of David Lakey. He's got the 83 of Jason Greenwell right behind him.
He does indeed. The battle of the 2 cars that I always mix up. They used to run very similar liveries and similar numbers, so it was almost as though they were one the same. But yeah, great battle between those 2 gentlemen. We're going to keep an eye on that in the background. And now the battle between Lacey and Foster, 2 other number neighbors as we see here. Kevin Foster kind of in the draft there, and Tony Hilbrand's up ahead, so maybe going to aid his attempts here down Thunder Alley, down those longer straightaways. But now get a peek to the inside is Benjamin Lacey. very comfortably gets underneath Kevin Foster, just washed up a little bit too high, didn't quite have the grip there on the bottom coming out of turn number 2, so he will take over that position. Benjamin Lacey is moving forward. Similar problem here for the 88 of Benny Hogan, gets real wide there through 3 and 4. You can afford to get a little bit loose here in the corners as long as you can be strong on the power, back on at the straights, but didn't quite get the run there. So Tony Halebrand's now going to threaten that spot for 4th. Brett Guzik has moved by the 2 gentlemen while we were away, so Brett Guzik, a playoff contender tonight, up into the top 3, right where he wants to be if he wants to make that final 4 for the final round. But this battle between Benny Hogan and Tony Halebrand's 2 non-playoff drivers, but still very interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, big battle right here. All these guys really close in that 7 car. Benjamin Lacey looking to move his way through the field. Tony Halebrand's letting him have that inside. The 7 car is going to take it by Halebrand's. He is. The 7 car moving up to 5th position, up 4 spots from where he started, now to the inside of the 88 car of Hogan. He's going to have that position as well. Benjamin Lacey up to 4th position, 5 spots up from where he started.
Oh, we got a great pack of drivers forming here. What a battle here in the early stages of tonight's event at Rockingham. But Ricky Hart trying to capitalize already gets Benny Hogan, who maybe just burned up his tires a little bit too early, is moving backwards. But our first yellow of the night, right as this was about to develop. You keep an eye on track for who that was. But man, a very immediate, well, actually not immediate by usual standards. This was a pretty good start to the race. Got a good green flag stint, and now you could argue kind of a fluke caution here. Most of the lead lap cars were okay, but let's see what happened here to it. Looks like the 18 car of Mitch Sullivan.
Getting high there and into the wall. And no saving it there as he gets into the outside and then inside wall. Let's watch it
again,
one more time.
Yeah, it was kind of a similar issue we saw to Alan Castle, and I think that was Charles Oberg earlier. Again, that outside wall comes up on you real quick when the banking shifts, and just wasn't quite able to counteract against it. Though again, he kept the car running similar to Oberg, so Mitch Sullivan, he's got the quick repair. He can head back to the pits. He's going to lose a lap, but hey, it could always be a little bit worse, and he's going to be able to recover. So again, just something for these drivers to think about, especially on colder tires there. You got to keep that back wall in mind, but certainly once a few guys start to figure it out, hopefully we'll get a little bit more comfort with most of the drivers in the field, and we can continue on some of the great battles we were starting to see there just a moment ago.
Yeah, and we got some drivers already coming down pit road. Brett Guzik, Ricky Hart Jr., some of the big names there. Mason Flagar from up front. Also coming in, we got Nick Dwornik, Mark Allen Bivens, Eddie Hagge, Thomas Finsler, Steve Ulrich, Gary Wright, and Mitchell Liam Sullivan. All on pit road as of right now. So kind of some big names there on pit road, at least of Brett Guzik and Ricky Hart Jr., the playoff drivers. Does that kind of surprise you, Marshall?
I think in a way it does, but it kind of goes back to something I said actually a lot last round. When we had some of those guys that kind of snuck there into the later portion of the playoff grid, some of those guys that really had to earn a bunch of points, sometimes it's best to just swing for the fences, take a chance. And we've seen all week, we've seen all season really, guys like Nick Nickerson, like Cody Welch, like Benjamin Lacey, the guys that did stay out and were up at the front. We know in terms of raw pace, they're going to be quick. We know if this race goes a conventional way, everything falls into place, not much happens. We know they're going to be comfortable and they can cruise to a great performance, and then in turn make the race at Talladega much more crucial and much more difficult for those guys towards the end of the playoff grid. But if you're willing to take a chance here, if you're one of those guys towards the bottom, like a Garrett Hall, like a Brett Guzik, like in a sense a Ricky Hart, who is outside the top 4 cutoff as we speak in points. So if you're guys like that, I say take the risk. I say go to the back, try to work with the alternate strategy we've seen work in the last couple races at both Darlington and Charlotte. I say try to go for that chance. Do something a little bit different, because if these guys fall into that monotonous style of race that will happen if they stay on the same strategy, I think they could find themselves at the end regretting it. And if there's one track I don't want to go to with the championship on the line if I'm out of the points, it's a track as unpredictable as Talladega next week.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that I noticed on that pit cycle, that 72 car, Mason Flagar came down pit road that time and presumably got new tires, I would assume. And yeah, with a pit stop time of 26 seconds, I would assume that he got new tires there. And one thing, we saw him really diving down low every single time and kind of trying to run under, I believe it was Trey Ellis, maybe Brett Guzik, I don't remember who it was he was running under, but running just kind of under him every single time, that's really going to chew up your tires, and he may have realized that and already decided that he was going to go ahead and come down pit lane and get that taken care of and grab some fresh Goodyears there, fix that up.
Yeah, I think that may have been something similar to what happened with Benny Hogan there. We saw tonight's race sponsor off to a great start there in qualifying, qualified on row 2, but was really starting to fall back there towards the end of that last stint. He stayed out, though, didn't pit, and maybe going to try to prioritize his tires for later. But again, the same thing we saw last week at Charlotte, Evan. The later we go, the more different strategies we start to see, the crazier these restarts get, with all different matters of levels of good years there, from very clean, very new, to very old and very worn.
Yes, as the lights are out on the pace car, getting ready for the restart here on lap 22 of 125 at the Sandhills 125 here at The Rock. Nick Nickerson leading us to green, the 85 car of Cody Welch to his outside. In the second row, Benjamin Lacey and Tony Hilbrands getting the green flag. Now Nick Nickerson is going to be off side by side in that second row.
Whoa, yes, huge side-by-side shunt there almost from Benjamin Lacey on the underside of Cody Welch, but avoids contact and makes it work. Great move by the 7 car. Stellar work there. You can see in the drone camera those two guys still side-by-side as we head into 3, but, you know, he's got the inside line. If Benjamin Lacey tires still have anything to them, they'll stick there, and they do, so he'll take over second. Tony Hilbrands, though, breathing right down the back of the 85 of Cody Welch's neck. Great battle here off the start. And again, as it always goes, the longer these guys fight here for second, the more race leader Nick Nickerson can try to pull away.
Yeah, Nick Nickerson already a second out front of the driver of the 7 car, Benjamin Lacey. He seems to be pulling away, at least right now. Now that these guys are single filed out, though, it gives Lacey and Cody Welch a chance to calm down, stop racing side by side, and catch up to Nickerson. But right now, I don't know if that's really what they're thinking about. 25 laps in, 100 laps to go here at The Rock. I really don't think these guys are thinking about catching him. I think they're just trying to keep it clean and stay up front as much as they can. At least that's what I'd be thinking about.
Yeah, I'd agree. Really, this early in a race that's going to be as unpredictable as guaranteed tonight's, well, just stick with the positions you have for now. And, well, one guy that may not be following that philosophy, Kevin Foster, right to the inside of Tony Hilbrands, who has to stick the top. He does, but Kevin Foster, look at the grip on that number 8 car. Great move there by him. He's going to move up into the top 4. Now Trey Ellis battling to get onto the back end of that top 5. Benny Hogan also, tonight's race sponsor, back in the conversation. The 88 car getting underneath, trying to follow Trey Ellis through. So if he goes, Hilbrands is going to lose 2 spots. He commits to the bottom. He might be okay if Hilbrands can't clear Ellis, and he can't. So side by side, there's an opening there, though. The 88 car can look underneath, but for now, Trey Ellis gets another spot. Now Benny Hogan is going to go by. Peter Murphy's going with him too. Tony Hilbrands, who got off to a great start, is starting to fall backwards.
Yeah, and that's just what happens when you get stuck up there outside. And you saw Trey Ellis washed up. It looked like he made a little bit of contact there with the 92 car, and not much that the 92 could do other than get out of the gas and avoid it. But there you see the 92 diving down low in front of the 38 car, looking to make that pass back, and he's going to be able to do it. 48 of Connor Sawyer. Looks like he's going to try and follow as well. We'll see if he can get it by him on the back straightaway right here. He's going to have the prime inside line, and it looks like he is going to easily do it. 38 able to fall down. Brandon Jackson going to be the driver back behind them in the 10th position. Jackson down 3 positions from where he started there now on the inside of the 38. Looking to make the pass, and he's going to be able to do it. Jackson now has the 48 car of Connor Sawyer up in front of him. Mason Flagar, if we look back a little bit, we saw him up front. He practiced good, but he's fallen back now, down 7 positions from where he started. And now battling on the outside of Nick Dwornik. It's for 15th position.
Tony Hilbrands are up front, continues to fall, and that was the spot to both Sawyer and Jackson. And Brandon Jackson, we haven't talked about him much tonight, but he has had a more difficult race than it would seem. He got an end-of-line penalty there on the very first caution, was sent back to 24th, and has since made his way all the way up to 8th. So he has been off to a great start there in the 99 car. But Brett Guzik all the way to the top. We know you don't want to be there. Brett Guzik, who I believe pitted on that last pit stop cycle, maybe for new tires or for fuel strategy, it is not paying off, and he'll lose a spot to a fellow pitting driver, Mason Flagar, who sends it in on the inside of Nick Dwornik. A little bit close for comfort there. Made a little bit of contact with the front left quarter panel of that number. I don't remember what number Nick Dwornik is. But, yeah, big move there in the number 63 car for Flagar. He's really sending it underneath like we saw a couple other guys do, but if you do that, got to be prepared for the corner exit, and that is easier said than done. But up front, Brandon Jackson now on the inside of Connor Sawyer, trying to take over the number 7 spot. As he continues to move up through the field, now up 17 spots since where he fell with that penalty. So making his way through. Now he's right behind Trey Ellis, and a little ways further back, Flagar still to the inside of Murphy. Some great battles here early at the Rock.
Yeah, Brett Gusick, last pit stop, he only pitted for 5 seconds, so not enough time to get any tires there. I would assume that would just be a pit for fuel strategy, but you can see this battle is really heating up. Dornick there on the inside of Tony Hilbrands, that 92 on the outside, and Hunter Henry in that 9th position, now on the outside of Dornick. So he's going to lose it. Dornick going to be up to 9th position, up 17 positions from where he started. Looking to the inside now of Trey Ellis. Going to get a little bit low maybe, but still has the position on Ellis. Going to be able to make the pass right now, and I'm sure he'll be able to stick it going down into turn 1.
Well, as you just said, Evan, Nick Dornick up 18 spots. Are we seeing yet another rookie phenom show up and just absolutely crush it off the beginning? And with how many moves he's having to make this early, this is a trial by fire if I've ever seen one. But look at another pass for Nick Dornick. Stellar start here for the 63 car. Now that's 19 spots. Now he's just got to track down Brandon Jackson, who has quite a bit of forward momentum of his own, so that's easier said than done. But man, these rookies, every time we get a new driver in the field, these guys should watch out, because these new faces are tearing this league apart. It's been incredible to watch.
And you can see a battle back behind him. Let's take a look and see if we can see what that is. There's Hunter Henry down to the inside and down low to the inside as he's going to miss the turn. Battling with Jason Greenwell now.
Little ways up front, that battle up between Dornick and Jackson continues, and I didn't think it was going to be a battle just a moment ago, but looks like it has reformed. Sorry, just looking at the replay there, but here is Nick Dornick to the inside of Brandon Jackson, side by side again. You saw in that last shot how far back the 63 was, but in only 2 laps time, makes up all of that time, sends it to the inside in the 99 car. We're going to go side by side again into turn 1. The 63 car with the more optimal inside line. Both of these guys have just passed Benny Hogan, so this now the battle for 5th, and for the time being, rookie sensation Nick Dornick is up into the top 5.
Yeah, but let's head back a little bit to Mason Flagar. He lost some spots, but now he's starting to gain them back as he's working on the 48 car of Connor Sawyer right now. So already an up and down day for the 72 car. So now he's to the inside of the 48 car of Connor Sawyer, and he's going to have the position. Mason Flagar in 8th position. Same place as he started, heading back a little bit more. Here's the battle. Jason Greenwell right now on the inside of Hunter Henry, then right in front of them, Trey Ellis and Thomas Fensler side by side.
Yeah, Thomas Fensler seems to be making some forward progress. He's going around the outside of Trey Ellis, a very rare move. We haven't seen too many of those this season so far, but he gets the move done. So the 17 car up through turn number 1, comfortably ahead of Trey Ellis. That'll put him in the 11th spot. But now we see the battle here again between Trey Ellis and Jason Greenwell. Greenwell going to get a great slipstream here down Thunder Alley, but he's got to find a way to do something with it in 3 and 4. And if he can't get to the inside, as we've seen so far in tonight's event, you might be a little bit hung up to dry. Now going to get to the inside, though, off the exit. Almost has the quarter panel underneath there, but Hunter Henry kind of in the catbird seat. Wherever this goes, he's going to go the other way. Now he's side by side with Greenwell. A great run there off of turn number 4. Side by side through 1 and 2 again. This is going to let Trey Ellis slip away a little ways, but Hunter Henry should have the better run off the corner. But Jason Greenwell does a great job getting the power down, but not getting into the outside of the number 94. Going to get to the inside. Now keep an eye there on Peter Murphy there in the number 38 car. He is looking underneath, and he's going to get there. That inside the line just looking unstoppable tonight. Steve Ulrich and Ricky Hardy, who is moving throughout the field, both right behind to sweep it up if one of these guys happens to make a mistake.
And we had our first driver pit under green. It's going to be Benny Hogan in the 88 car. First driver to come down not under caution, and that's going to be a difficult task today if we do have green flag pit stops, and that may be why we saw some of these drivers come and pit on our last caution. But this is definitely a difficult pit road to get in and out of, so it would not surprise me if some of these drivers went long on their fuel runs. If people start coming in under green, it's not going to surprise me if drivers are going to stay out as long as they can, hoping for that caution, because the more drivers that try to come down pit road, the more difficult it's going to be, and the more chances that you're going to get that caution.
Absolutely, and as we see plenty of guys getting by the outside there at Trey Ellis, the 4 car losing some momentum here off the exit at corner number 4. Now Ricky Harden behind again. I just talked about a moment ago. He's got some forward progress going. He's going to try to continue that. Hunter Henry gets high there through 1 and 2. The last thing you want to do here at Rockingham, he's going to move back a couple spots as a result, side by side with Hilbrands, who should clear him pretty comfortably there. But back up here to Murphy and Ellis. Ellis on the inside, though. He's going to stick the line, but it's looking like in terms of tire wear, he just doesn't have the momentum, meaning he has worse for wear tires at this point than some of the guys he's running around. Ricky Hart, though, looking real comfortable there in that bottom line. I think we saw him pit last time by, maybe going with a bit of an alternate strategy, but it is working. He's making progress through the field, and almost more so than track position. You really want to have the potential and show the pace that you need to win a race like this at Rockingham, but he gets underneath. So Ricky Hart continues his forward trajectory, and Steve Ulrich tonight making his debut, I should mention. Just got by Tony Hilbrand's now battling for that spot with Murphy and Hart. Now here is Jackson under the inside of Foster. Plenty of battles all throughout the field. That is for 6th. So the driver that started 6th, Kevin Foster, and the driver that started 7th, Brandon Jackson, have now flipped spots. And we're seeing our first drivers down pit road from the lead of the race, including race leader Nick Nickerson and second place Cody Welch.
Yeah, Hunter Henry, Jason Greenwell, Connor Sawyer, Tony Hilbrand's all heading out of pit road right now. Here you see Nickerson, Welch, Lacey, and Foster all heading into pit road. Mason Flagar going to be your leader. That 72 car going to get extra points for laps led tonight's race. As you see the timing screen on the left going crazy with drivers heading down pit road.
Just watching the battle here off pit road, multiple drivers, it looks like, not taking tires. Connor Sawyer and Tony Hilbrands have won the battle off pit road, as well as Benjamin Lacey. So Nick Nickerson and Cody Welch, your top 2 in the race coming into the pit cycle. They're going to lose a few spots, but the question is, what were the differing strategies? What were guys taking chances on? And is it going to be tires? Because that could be crucial here if we get a longer green flag run where those times can really fall off. But there was Brandon Jackson here pitting as well. He's had yet another comeback race where he's had quite a bit of adversity to work through, even in the first 48 laps alone, but he's done well to recover. We'll see where he comes out on the pit cycle. But Nick Nickerson does a good job here to jump Cody Welch a little bit. He was already about a second ahead coming into the pit stops. And, well, not a bad outlap for him as well. So he will keep ahead of Cody Welch by a comfortable amount and should remain in second here, provisionally, based on the current timing with pit stops and everything. But in the lead here is now Benjamin Lacey. So as a result of the pit cycles, the driver presumably not taking tires, he is going to move up there. But here's Mason Flagar, another driver who seemed to, kind of be adverse to pitting here. We're still seeing him out on track, has yet to come in for his second pit stop of the race. Remember, he pitted early, and we're assuming for tires. So we know he has the fuel to go long. We know he has the tires, and if we get a caution here, some of those guys that are 2 laps down on the pit cycle, this could be catastrophic for them as long as he stays out.
Yeah, the young gun from Las Vegas, Nevada, Double M Motorsports on that 72 car doing a great job staying out right now. We'll see how long he can stay out there, though, up 7 spots from where he started here in the lead right now. And yeah, since he pitted once on lap 19, we'll see how long he can go before he has to go again there, given the 38 car, that inside line. Brett Guzik now also down pit road, bringing his 04 car into its pit stall for service. Nick Nickerson, right now former leader, going to be in 6th position now after passing Brett.
Well, the other interesting aspect of having a long green flag stint, as we've seen only 1 caution in the first 50 laps, is you really start to have to deal with lap traffic. And you're seeing it right now. The 2 car right behind Trey Ellis almost peeks his nose underneath, but with what he's seeing up front between himself and Garrett Hall, really doesn't want to take a risk there and risk getting involved in a 2-wide battle. The 2 guys having a great fight here. That's Hall and Trey Ellis, but man, Nick Nickerson just wants to get by as, again, the provisional second place sitter here with Benjamin Lacey considered, and Cody Welch, who appears to be in the equation as well, though both guys now have passed Benjamin Lacey. But there is Nick Nickerson, looking calm as always. Doesn't really seem to look phased at any point, but now it'll be a little bit easier to get by Trey Ellis, as we're seeing Garrett Hall kind of phased into the picture, as well as Mason Flagar, who's continuing to lose time here. Those older tires, every lap he runs on them, and every lap these top guys run on new tires, that gap is just going to get smaller and smaller. And there is Ricky Hart returning to the track, so that'll be his second pit stop of the night. Again, all sorts of different fuel strategies, but what I know for now is that Nick Nickerson should still be, when the fuel cycle, or the pit cycle, I should say, when it evens out, should still be tonight's provisional leader with Cody Welch not too far behind.
Yeah, Nick Nickerson and Cody Welch. Let me bring up both of their Skype cameras. Now you can see them in the top right. See, looking out the nose of Cody Welch, you can see Nick Nickerson up there dealing with lap traffic, and that's going to allow Cody to catch up to him just a little bit. Plenty of time to catch up to him there. He's going to even be able to make the pass, it looks like, to the inside. 85 car Cody Welch easily to the inside down on that turn after Nick Nickerson had to hit the brakes hard.
Yeah, he did, but nice move there by Nick just to stay in the equation at all. Mark Allen Bivens, I think it was, up there having a lot of trouble on the high line when he went by, so good of him to avoid that at all. And, you know, you'd rather lose a spot and stay on track than the alternative. So Cody Welch now will become tonight's provisional race leader, although again, as of right now, it is Mason Flagar there in an alternate strategy who leads tonight's event. But now Trey Ellis is, well, he's done a great job of blocking these two race leaders here, not necessarily in an aggressive way, but just trying to hold a spot and make as good lap times as he possibly can. But now that he goes to the top, he's going to lose that line to Welch, but he's not going to lose it to Nickerson. Going to drop down again. Nick Nickerson just trying to get by however he can, now gets to the inside, and he wants this done sooner rather than later because Cody Welch, we know the potential he has to just take off if he gets some clean track up ahead.
Yeah, right. And looking out the back of Cody Welch, 2 wins on the season, 7 top 5s, and that's nothing like the amount of wins that Nick Nickerson has, but Cody Welch has proven that he can put it into victory lane, and he's definitely going to look to do that here again tonight. As there you see back behind him, Ricky Hart Jr. I believe he's not going to be on the lead lap, though. Down in 15th position, but sitting there, a quick car right behind Nick Nickerson.
Up ahead, we're seeing smoke there from somebody. I was trying to keep an eye there on who that was, but looks like they will get back up to speed and continue their forward progress. It's whoever Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson are coming up to on screen as we see. So, as we speak, I should say. So, who is that up ahead? Whoever it was got a little bit loose there through 3 and 4, was having some troubles keeping it on track, but as long as they can settle down long enough that our 2 race leaders can head by and can continue their battle there for the provisional lead. That was Charles Oberg, who we saw get a little bit loose earlier coming off of turn number 2. He will hop out of the way. So again, lap traffic tonight playing a much bigger role than it has in a couple races the last couple weeks. And one driver that you see right behind you just talked about, but well, you see Ricky Hart, who again has a strong presence here at any oval race, but the fact that this early in the race, without strategy considered, he is a lap down, certainly a surprise to see nonetheless.
Yeah, and another surprise to see still, Mason Flagar. They're out front in that 72 car, and a great job from him to stay out front here. We'll see whether that move pays off of him not pitting. Once he comes in this time, we'll see where he ends up, but at the very least, getting the bonus point for a lap led in that 72 car. I mean, he's not in the playoffs, but still, getting bonus points, you can move up the standings. I don't believe he was here for the full season, so if he was, that would definitely be helping him out, but you still move up from wherever he's at right now. I'm trying to find it, but yeah, in 30th position right now, he could still move up and catch some of those other guys that aren't in the playoffs. So not going to be able to catch anybody that is, of course, not being in it, but can still move up. He's down in 30th position right now, so.
Yeah, we certainly can't give people the impression that, when you're eliminated from the playoffs, you're immediately out of contention for wanting to fight for points. Just because you're not in the fight for the championship doesn't mean you'd like to improve your spots. Certainly Mason Flagar going to do whatever he can once the pit cycles cycle out to try to hold whatever spot he gets as best he can. We almost had an incident there between Nick Nickerson and one of the lap cars. I think it was maybe a new entry. I don't recognize the paint scheme. It looked like the 6 car of Gary Wright there on the inside, who just kind of washed up there through the outside of turn number 1. Came very close there to making contact. You see there on the entry to turn number 1. Nick Nickerson, a bit of a scare there the second time in the last couple laps from a lap car.
Yeah, Nick Nickerson able to make it 3 wide there with that 6 on the bottom, and the 99 car, Brandon Jackson, up to his outside as we head back alive now. Nick Nickerson going to be in 3rd. Cody Welch in 2nd. As there you see the 99 car, Brandon Jackson going to dive down to the inside line. Jackson is going to be back in 22nd position, so fairly far back for him. A lap down, obviously, but a fast car looking to get that lap back as he was just able to get by the 2 of Nickerson. Mason Flagar heading in the pits right now.
Yeah, so a really impressive run there, though, from Flagar. That was about, I think, if I remember correctly, about 45 laps there. He ran on a tank of gas and tires, so didn't quite keep the gap he would have needed to come out maybe in the top 5, top 10, but certainly that was certainly an endurance performance that'll help him and give him some brownie points there on both tires and fuel at the end, because, well, the more you take now, if we get a late race caution where you do have to pit, it just gives him the opportunity to short pit and gain some spots there towards the end. So whether it gains some spots in the short term or not, I really like that strategy from Flagar. I think it's something a little bit different. I think it's something that could pay off for him going forward.
You see the 85 car, Cody Welch, getting by a lap car, and looking back, you can see Brandon Jackson back behind him, and back even further, Nick Nickerson is, oh! The 92 car of Hillbrand, sideways, in the middle of the track, and the yellow flag is going to be out. Let's head to the instant replay and catch what happened there. You're watching the 92 of Hillbrands, and contact from the 79 got him turned around right in front of your leaders.
Yeah, that was a scary wreck all the way through. I mean, that was the battle for 8th, so pretty high-profile positions there up for grabs in that wreck. But, yeah, you see there just one more time, Mark Allen Bivens really sent it in there towards the back. That's the 79 car. I shouldn't misidentify. That's Anthony Caetano, I should say, there in the number 79. So, yeah, really a deep send there into the corner. We've seen guys be late on the brakes all night here at Rockingham with the heavy banking, but they're just a little bit too late. You don't want to get into the back of the leader as a lap car, especially not when it's a battle for a spot that high. But got to think it was just a mistake. But Tony Hillbrands, regardless, is gonna come out on the wrong end of that situation. But again, he got back up to speed. He's in an okay spot. I mean, this isn't going to be race ending for him, but certainly does need to come in for a quick repair sooner rather than later. And speaking of repairs and various things of that nature, we're seeing several race leaders coming down pit road, including Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson, your top two.
And you can see a little bit of behind the scenes of what I'm seeing, and then you can see the guys that are coming in. If you look in your top left, we got Cody Welch, Nick Nickerson, Kevin Foster coming in the pits, Brett Guzik, Benny Hogan, Jason Greenwell, and Benjamin Lacey also coming in, along with Charles A. Oberg back in 24th position.
Just watching the battle here off pit road between your top two drivers. We saw Cody Welch be really quick there last time on the pit cycle, and he's going to do it again. Cody Welch comfortably ahead of Nick Nickerson, but Kevin Foster is going to beat Nick Nickerson off pit road to take over, well, second on that particular strategy. Connor Sawyer, who did not decide to pit, has one of the longer stints we've seen so far. He's been on those set of tires he's on right now for quite a long time. So as we said pre-race, getting his strategy call tonight, and has up in his ear Curtis Yancey, who was not running tonight, but he's got some help from him, and we know Curtis has been quick all season at these mid-sized ovals, so certainly I'd imagine trying to give him some advice. But now he's going to be starting with Ricky Hart, who another driver on a bit of an alternative strategy, but a championship driver nonetheless. So those two guys are the only drivers ahead of guys such as Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson. And right as I say that, both drivers will pit. So Ricky Hart is going to head into the pits, as well as Connor Sawyer. No, they won't. They just fixed itself out on my timing. So those guys will be in the first and second spots. Cody Welch, as a result of winning the race off pit road, is going to come out in third, but he'll still have his tonight rival and really been his adversary for the entire season, Nick Nickerson, to his outside.
You can see all the drivers on Discord. Not on Discord, I'm sorry, on Skype. They're on the camera looking at my other screen. Got my mind going different places, but all the drivers on Skype there, thank you to the drivers that have their Skype cameras up. Brandon Jackson looking a little quieter than normal tonight, but all the drivers here on Skype, and a thank you to them, but also a big thank you to the sponsor of today's race, as I've said, C&R Machining, located in Troy, North Carolina. Do work for NASCAR teams and other shops that provide pressure vessels to customers. Again, no social media, but you can contact him at crmachining at outlook.com. He has 20 plus years of experience in the field. And also doing well tonight as the 88 car of Benny Hogan sitting in 5th position right now.
Yeah, I've been really impressed all night with what we've seen from Benny Hogan. I mean, he was making some noise there early in the season, especially at the short ovals, which I would borderline consider Rockingham one of. But he's been really quick this season with these types of ovals. We saw it all at the beginning of the season, including at tracks like Iowa. So we knew he had it in him, but tonight, really kind of a resurgence for the driver of the number 88 car. Really happy to see he's doing well. But now we're going to go to our third restart of the night. Sorry, second restart. Third start, I should say. Second caution coming to an end. The pace car going to take the left-hander onto pit road, as it does just now. Connor Sawyer had some troubles in that last restart. Couldn't get up to speed, but now he does. Green flag for the third time in tonight's event. Connor Sawyer leads the field to green for the first time, really, that I can remember all season, with Ricky Hart to his outside. But Now he's got to worry more so about Cody Welch right there and behind, but Ricky Hart, great run off the exit of the corner. The 64 car all the way around the outside clears him, and he will lead his first lap of the race.
Yeah, huge move there from Ricky Hart Jr. to get that Materia Tattoo Supra up there into the lead for the first time tonight. Like you said, let's take a look a little bit back in the field, though. We got Cody Welch behind him, and right on his rear bumper is Cody Welch, but behind him, Nick Nickerson, Brett Guzik, and Benjamin Lacey, all single file. Let's not take a look back there, actually, as the 85 car, Cody Welch, is going to get down to the inside of Ricky Hart Jr., going to retake the lead. The 85 car to the lead, and the 2 of Nick Nickerson is going to follow. Now it's a battle between the 64 and the 04. Brett Guzik look to the inside of Ricky Hart Jr., and Ricky Hart Jr. running that high lane. The 04 of Brett Guzik is going to be able to take it away from him.
Yeah, Hart and Guzik definitely got plenty to battle for. They're 5th and 6th in the championship points right now, so that was a huge pass for position in the championship as a whole. But there is Benjamin Lacey also making the move, another driver towards the cutoff there in the playoff points. So these are valuable positions slipping out of the hands of Ricky Hart here. He really was on an alternate strategy, but you know he wanted to hold those guys up a little bit longer, try to take more time off. Now he's going to worry about Jason Greenwell, who's just outside of the top 5. This would be a great performance for the driver of the number 83 car, but there is Benny Hogan. He's got Kevin Foster right ahead of him, who tonight has really played an important part. He, I think, beat Nick Nickerson off the pit cycle, but something seemed to switch around that changed that up. But what a ways further ahead. There is Connor Sawyer. Hunter Henry on the exit just avoids the pit wall. Holy cow, that was close. Hunter Henry, a near scare there. Several guys in behind are going to have to try to avoid. There is Mason Flagg, our former race leader, who has to avoid the number 94 of Henry. And oh man, how close he came to hitting the inside pit wall as a result of a little slip there off the corner number 4. And there goes Flagar as a result of the shift in momentum.
Yeah, a little bit up in front, though. Connor Sawyer able to get by, or Kevin Foster able to get by Connor Sawyer. The 8 car going to be up to 7th position. Sawyer down to 8th.
Man, for this early in a run, Kevin Foster's probably wondering, where did everybody go up ahead? He's got 3.5 seconds to go to catch up to Ricky Hart, who was in the next spot ahead of him. But there is Hunter Henry. We see now making the move on Benny Hogan. Important to mention that Mason Flagar is still at the head of this pack, who has the next spot ahead of them. I believe is, just behind Connor Sawyer. He's going to look to the top. What a run there he got on the top side. Mason Flagar tonight, we saw it with his speeds in practice, but he is looking real comfortable tonight at Rockingham. Got to wonder if maybe he's got some experience here in some other disciplines. But wow, nice send there up top. He's going to comfortably avoid Connor Sawyer, who, remember, did start this last restart off in the top spots of those old tires. This should show you, if anything, just how brutal dealing with those can be. But now to the inside of Kevin Foster goes Mason Flagar. And with this pace, got to wonder if he's the guy to bridge that gap between 6th and 7th. But whatever it may be, the 72 car looking great tonight here at Rockingham.
Yeah, and on the other end of the coin, the 48 car looking to be falling back as Hunter Henry just getting by him and falling back a little bit more. Connor Sawyer down to 10th position at the moment. And now you see Hunter Henry working his way up 13 positions from where he started in 9th position on the tail end of the 99 car of Brandon Jackson. Brandon Jackson going to be down in 21st position, 1 lap down.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has just really not had the night he wanted, especially for a guy that's in tight in the championship battle. Currently sits 3rd. This is going to be a huge blow to him if he can't make up a few more spots there from 21st. But he's had a lot to deal with tonight, so the fact that he's where he is impressive enough in its own right. But there again is Benny Hogan, who currently sits just outside of the top 10. But with Connor Sawyer's struggles we've been seeing the last couple laps, maybe an opportunity is going to form itself for Benny Hogan. Now he's bringing a lot of space in here. He's got a lot of speed coming up into 3 and 4. He's got, again, the momentum, something we talk about all the time. Can be super crucial here. Gets a good slipstream there off the back, coming down towards the front stretch, and in turn, that very short run into turn 1 gets to the inside, but is going to wash up real hard. That was a very aggressive apex, but no, he does get him. Connor Sawyer, again, with those older tires and the combination of the outside wall, make it really tough to avoid the top. And down through Thunder Alley, Benny Hogan, tonight's race sponsor, back into the top 10.
Yeah, a little bit further back, we have Tony Hilbrands, who's right on the bumper of Thomas Finsler. Just a couple of cars back. Hilbrands looking to make the move. Not able to yet, though, as we have a little bit of a clog up there. And you see the 92 car with the big damage to his rear end from that incident earlier.
Yeah, didn't decide to fix it there with a quick repair, so clearly he doesn't think it is that bad in terms of his race pace. But here's Bill Harkins now making the move on tonight's debuting rookie, Mr. Eric Andrews, there in the 5 car. So he is going to head to the outside. We'll lose that spot, but there goes Bill Harkins comfortably underneath the final driver on the lead lap, so he will take over the 17th spot. Again, that should just show you how much tires can make a difference. Two guys that are running right next to each other in position on track, but ran a second apart there in that last lap time.
Out front, though, still the 85 car of Cody Welch, as he's able to get by the lap car, the 5, having to get down a little bit low, and 79 giving him position as well. But you can see how close the 2 car of Nick Nickerson is to Cody Welch. These guys really battling Nick Nickerson, not letting him get a lead here, as now it's lap 86 of 125.
Yeah, I think one really interesting thing to note is these 2 top guys weave through traffic in and out. Now coming up to the back of Bill Harkins, who's about to go a lap down if he cannot avoid these 2 guys. Eric Andrews just did a moment ago. But it's interesting to see that Cody Welch, of the 2 guys, is the one that's being a little bit more vocal, trying to talk to lap cars, trying to communicate where he wants them to get out of the way as he flies by them at over a second a lap. But Nick Nickerson, perfectly silent. If you're watching a Skype cam, just no talking from the driver of the number 2 car. He's just really just falling in behind Cody Welch. It's tough for the 85 car because he's got to worry about communicating this. You see they come up right behind David Leakey, I believe it is. Yeah, the 84 car, they're right on top. This might be the opportunity Nickerson needs. Going to get a much better run there off of turn number 4 because he doesn't have to check out for the car ahead. And yeah, but because of that, he can just kind of focus and follow in behind the 85 car. And if he makes a mistake, he has the opportunity to correct whatever he did and improve upon it. I like the spot Nickerson's in this situation. He's going to save a little bit more fuel if that's something he tactically wants to go for. And if he's choosing his lines right, he should be using his tires a little bit less. So almost using the race leader, the 85 of Cody Welch, kind of like a battering ram to get through the lap traffic. The next lap car is the 10 car of Matt Crockett. He's going to head to the outside. And this lap, though, Nick Nickerson kind of dropping back a little ways. I mean, 6/10 doesn't sound like a ton, but compared to how close they've been all night, that's an eternity in their years.
Yeah, both drivers able to get past Matt Crockett as he gives them room, and now's when Nickerson can really close that gap down as long as he can run faster laps than Welch. In practice, he had faster laps, but can he run them consistently is, I guess, what we're really looking for. This is what's really going to be the test of which one of these drivers is the quickest. But the thing is, on a track like this, it's not always the quickest driver that wins. So that's why you stick around for all 125 laps. Cody Welch out front, Nick Nickerson in second right now, but they're catching more lap cars up in front of him.
Yeah, looking in depth here at the lap times for your top 2 drivers as race leader Cody Welch heads by Charles Oberg. Looking at the in-depth lap times here, lap by lap of the top 2 drivers, the only lap in the last 15 that Welch was faster than Nick Nickerson was, I believe, it was 3 laps ago. And in that lap, Welch was almost a full 7/10 quicker than Nickerson. So there's a considerable difference between those guys in terms of lap time. It looks like Nick Nickerson is just a little bit quicker. But once you have that one bad lap or you get caught by one lap car, it can absolutely destroy your pace. And speaking of which, Cody Welch has to shoot the needle between both Fensler and Hogan. Now going to get to the inside of Thomas Fensler, who looks to give him the spot. And yes, it looks like he will. He's going to comfortably get underneath there, and he's not going to lose too much time to spare. Almost a full second ahead of Nickerson now. You see there on the timing tower on the left-hand side, and that's about a 10th up from where he was at the start of the lap. So, man, really coming into his own here. Cody Welch looking for his 3rd win of the season to get to half of Nick Nickerson's tally on the year, but, well, that would be one more than Benjamin Lacey, the only other driver to have multiple in the season, and triple that of any other race winner this year. So Cody Welch would be a big win for him tonight, and it looks like he's got the pace to back that up.
Again, green flag pit stop times. We got Benny Hogan, Peter Murphy, David Leakey, and Brandon Jackson all coming down pit road. Charles A. Oberg going to join him as well, and Ricky Hart Jr. pitting from the 8th position.
So this should be the last pit stop of the day for most of these guys, provided they've saved their tires and they got a new set and they can really try to conserve towards the end. But this is a battle for position. Keep in mind, Brett Guzik gets that positive momentum he's got, works with that negative momentum that Nickerson's got, and puts himself up into second. This is a crucial performance for a playoff driver like Guzik, especially when you take into account that Jackson's having a rough night in terms of points, it would seem. Guys like Ricky Hart are really relying on some pretty risky strategies. If he can make this work and Guzik can stay up here on an equal strategy with Welch and Nickerson, well, this could be a huge performance in it, and this could make his next week's race at at Talladega to round off the round could make that significantly easier in his hopes of making the final round of the playoffs.
Yeah, really no close battles on track right now as everybody's kind of spread out to pit. Just an update on Mason Flagar, the guy that we saw at the lead and bouncing around up and down, sitting in 7th position right now, and really was one of the closest drivers on track there, but now he's fallen back a little bit. Brett Guzik still one of the closest drivers as well, sitting in 2nd position, doing a great job. And real quick, we've got to mention Brandon Jackson just came out of the pit, sitting all the way down in 21st position, but just set the quickest lap of the race. Set a 23.89. Cody Welch, best time of the race, is a 23.94, and Nick Nickerson's is a 23.91. Brandon Jackson, the only driver to get into the 23.8s.
Yeah, you can even see it in the way he's driving. He is really testing those apexes. He's really pushing it to the limit in terms of how close he's getting to the wall. We know Action Jackson all season has had the ability to find pace anywhere, to run great lap times. And yet another caution. We're going to go to, that's another 3 on the night, which, I mean, 1 every 33 laps, not a bad ratio tonight. We've had a fairly clean affair. But there is the 3rd caution. And in terms of strategy, some of those guys that may have pitted just now under green, this is not going to play to their favor.
Victor Weaver and Anthony Caetano involved in this yellow, so heading to the replay, see if we can see what happened. Victor Weaver in the 23, Anthony Caetano in the 79 car. Let's watch it one more time. Let's get it rewound. I think we got to go pretty far back. Let's head back before this turn. Follow Caetano heading down into turn 1 and 2. So down into turn 1 and 2, you see he pushes up, getting tight, and up into that outside wall, shoots back down like we've seen a couple of drivers do, and there was the 23 car of Victor Weaver, really nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, again, that same transition into Thunder Alley, the switch in the banking there from the hardly banked 1 and 2 into the backstretch, it's a rough transition to make, especially on little older tires. And, you know, if you kind of forget about it, if you're too embroiled in a battle, too focused on an apex, it can sneak up on you bad. And we've seen a couple of good drivers tonight get caught out with that same mistake. Now is the battle off pit road. Not only did we see Guzik just make the move on Nick Nickerson, but he almost beat Cody Welch out of the pit cycle, though the 85 car will hold that top spot, though. But, man, Brett Guzik is coming alive here in the later stages of tonight's race at the Rock.
But the story of this yellow flag is going to be the 72 car staying out again. Last pitted on lap 64. And here he is staying out, going to be in 1st position, going to be starting up front. Unless he comes down pit road this time. We'll see if he does. He's not going to. Going to be starting up front, the 72 car of Mason Flagar. He's going to have Cody Welch to his outside, and then Brett Guzik and Nick Nickerson in the row back behind him.
Well, I can tell you the one guy that doesn't want to see that is Brett Guzik. The worst thing you can have on a restart is somebody like a Mason Flagar in front of you who's on very old tires, might have troubles with traction getting up to pace there when he gets back to green. He's going to have to be very careful as Mason Flagar about how he gets back on the power and eases back up to speed, because if he gets on the power too quick with those old tires, he could really burn him out, could really get a lot of wheel spin. And if Brett Guzik is stuck behind him in that situation, well, the already very fast Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson on the outside are going to take advantage and just fly by into turn 1. So something to keep an eye on. But if Brett Guzik is able to get up to speed pretty quickly, we've seen the last couple laps, Evan, he is just finding time, and he not only made a green flag pass there on Nick Nickerson, but also beat Cody Welch on the pit cycle. Everything just seems to be coming together tonight for the 04 car.
Yeah, everything does seem to be coming together for Brett Guzik, but this restart may cause everything to fall apart with 25 laps to go. This is going to be a tough restart for him, as this inside lane is definitely going to be slow, with Mason Flagar last pitting on lap 64.
I think this really all boils down to the very beginning. We saw Mason was really starting to burn those tires up, was throwing it to the inside of every apex. As a result, we saw him have to pit early on that first caution. I assumed for tires based on the duration of his pit stop, and well, this is proving that theory right. Being on the lead lap comfortably, one of only 8 cars left on the lead lap in tonight's event, you'd pit if you had the chance, but unfortunately it looks like he doesn't. is going to have to ride those old tires out to the end. He's going to be moving backwards, I'd imagine, unless he's able to find incredible pace there on older tires, something like the likes of which we haven't seen all season. So Mason Flagar, he's got the track position, but now is a question of what is he able to do with it. And again, the way we've seen the cautions tonight, this might be the last of the race, so possibly the start of your green flag battle to the finish between plenty of championship contenders and Mason Flagar.
This could be the last of the race, but if it were me, I would not put money on it. You know, cautions breed cautions, so we'll have to see. Getting ready to go green here, and there you see the old tires of the 72 car of Mason Flagar, and that's really going to hurt that 04 of Brett Guzik, Cody Welch, and Nick Nickerson out to a big jump.
To a T, what I call their precaution, right as I was saying. They're going to have trouble there with the older tires, and Brett Guzik did get caught out, as I had worried, and that'll give Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson the perfect opportunity back up to the front, can continue their battle. Two guys that have just been slugging each other back and forth with great lap times. They know what it takes to run up front. But Jason Greenwell, shout out to the 83 car, now sitting up there in fourth, was a beneficiary of that last incident there with Mason getting a little bit loose there on the race restart, but he has earned it tonight. Run some great lap times, and I mean, Brett Guzik, we saw a moment ago, he has the pace to kind of dive up there, dive past a couple guys and get up towards that front battle. But man, Evan, just the same way I had that call there with Guzik and Flagar, you had the call there on the caution. Almost immediately, we get our fourth caution of the night.
Right before we did, though, Cody Welch just set a new quickest lap of the race with a 23.82. Nick Nickerson set a personal best with a 23.89. But now let's take a look at what happened. David Leakey and Bill Harkins involved in this one. 3 wide, Bill Harkins in the middle.
Huh. That was one of those weird incidents. Really, once you just get so jam-packed, so many cars trying to fight in one spot. I mean, really, I don't know about you, Evan. I don't know what else David Leakey or Bill Harkins were really going to do in that situation. Looked like Spencer just got a little bit too high, kind of shook up the entire race order there, especially kind of a very late 3 wide as we came out of turn 2.
Yeah, that 17 there was on the outside, bounced off of the wall, bounced into the 11, and then bounced into the 84. Not much he can do. And then that 94 car of, who was it in the, oh no, the 92 car that came through. I don't believe that Leakey knew that he was going to be coming to his outside there at the end. And that's what initially caused him to go around. It looked like the 84 was going to have it saved till he made contact with that 92. And then Bill Harkins, I believe, he had a little bit of contact thereafter. We follow along with him. Slowed down on a little bit of bump from the 8 car, Kevin Foster. And that's going to collect Kevin Foster as well as the 5 car of Eric Andrews. And Bill Harkins down into the inside wall.
I think it might be worth seeing one more time there, maybe a reverse view from Tony Hilbrand's perspective, because that door shut really quickly between the 2 cars in front of him. Really impressed he was able to shoot the gap there up front, because just look at how close it is. I mean, there it is right before the 2 guys bang off each other again, and the real wreck begins to start. But yeah, that kind of window opened perfectly for him, and the 92 car, who is a lap down, is now going to move up to become the 2nd highest driver on that list. Look at how close that was. Those 2 guys dropped back a little bit sooner. He was caught in that, but as a result, he made up, what, maybe 2 or 3 spots, all without having to really do much of anything.
Yeah, and let's see if we can see it one more time from the cockpit of David Leakey. We're going to watch how this first incident transpired. You see Bill Harkins, after he got hit into, nothing he could do, and it looked like he almost had it saved till the 92 car came through, and nothing that Leakey could do. And there you see the rest of the accident there in the top right.
Well, I mean, the complexion of this race now entirely changes. I mean, having this now be the last caution at tonight's event, a start made up primarily of drivers on new tires or newer tires. Guys like Cody Welch, Nick Nickerson, Brett Guzik, Jason Greenwell, Benjamin Lacey, all in the conventional strategy there in terms of having fairly fresh tires that shouldn't get too much wheel spin here on the restart. But this, remember that last restart? Horrible luck for Brett Guzik, was just caught in an unfortunate situation. But as long as he doesn't have too much front nose damage, which is a possibility, as long as he doesn't, I think now he's in the perfect spot, because Cody Welch, we've seen all night, been great on the restarts. He's been able to get on the power like nobody's business. So now to be able to be parked behind him for this restart and to have Nick Nickerson to your outside the unoptimal lane, I think Brett Guzik's fortunes may have flipped. And I think this next restart, as we come to with the lights and the pace car off, this may be the opportunity he needs to get win number 1 of the season.
Yeah, we're going to head back to this chopper cam for this, what will hopefully be the final restart of the race. The 85 car of Cody Welch there on the inside, the 2 of Nick Nickerson on the outside, Brett Guzik and Jason Greenwell in the row behind them, and then Benjamin Lacey and Hunter Henry back in the 3rd row. Though for Brett Guzik gets another chance there on the inside lane in front of a car on fresher tires. The pace car is off. Let's watch this restart and see what happens. Jump there from the 85 car, the 2 car looking to follow a little bit of a gap there for the 83 car. The 85 of Welch able to jump up, and the 2 car of Nick Nickerson able to jump back down. The 2 car of Nick Nickerson right on the bumper of Cody Welch, and the 04 of Brett Guzik looking to follow a little bit of a gap there to Guzik, and a little bit more of a gap back to the 7 car of Benjamin Lacey. The real battle here between the 85 and the 2, Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson right on each other's bumper.
Nick Nickerson on Skype, you can see just a straight-faced, brutally direct expression. He is as focused as he possibly can, and he has to be. Cody Welch all night has been as quick as possibly can be, has the fastest lap of tonight's race, and you know he is going to be comfortable with where he is. Nick Nickerson, not one of those guys that makes irresponsible late sends, but man, if there is a guy you don't want to battle lap times with, it is 6-time race winner this season, Nick Nickerson. And Cody Welch, though, doing everything he can, made time up and through 3 and 4 that last time by, so the 85 car is just dialed in when it comes to hitting his apex, is now about a half-second clear of Nick Nickerson off the exit of 1 and 2.
Yeah, Cody Welch just set the quickest time of the race earlier. I said nobody got down to 23.8. Cody Welch just got to 23.80, almost in the 23.7s for the 85 car of Cody Welch. Really quick lap times for him as he's looking to pull away from Nick Nickerson.
Yeah, just ran a lap better than his actual lap in qualifying here, but now under pressure a little bit more. Nick Nickerson, now that we get a little ways into the stint, is starting to pick up the pace, as we've seen a couple times this year, right to the back bumper of the 85 car. Makes a little bit of contact, but doesn't seem to wiggle him too much, but now underneath, looking side by side into corner number 1. Welch is the unideal top line, but makes sure to stay right in the middle, really pressuring Nickerson, and great job by the 85 car, and he gets it done. That was perfect defending by Cody Welch. Just sit in the middle, pressure him down. We know Nick is battling for the points. We know he wants the win, but man, the last thing you want right now is to cause a wreck, and by moving up there and trying to push up on Welch, he may have done just that. So Cody Welch, using every piece of the track he possibly can with only 12 laps to go, about 4 minutes of race time. He is getting closer and closer to win number 3, but again, Nick right on the back bumper as he's been all race.
Yeah, 12 laps to go. Let's go ahead and check on some battles around the track. Here we got the 88 car of Benny Hogan heading to the inside of the 48 of Connor Sawyer. Kevin Foster also in that battle as well. Really a battle for 12th position. A little bit of a bump there. The 88 gives the 02 car. Right back behind them, Connor Sawyer there on the outside of the 8 car of Kevin Foster. 13th and 14th positions respectively. Now to the inside of Charles Oberg. And the 10 car of Matt Crockett in the wall back behind them. Sideways, this will bring out another caution. It's going to be the 10 car of Matt Crockett, as well as the new driver, the 5 car. It's going to be Eric Andrews. I couldn't see who else was involved there, but that's going to bring out your 5th caution of the night.
It is indeed, and what a time to have one. This battle to the finish is going to be nuts here at Rockingham. But again, let's get a replay of that, because I think the catalyst for that was Matt Crockett getting a little bit wide, as we've seen countless times tonight. The exit to turn number 2 back onto Thunder Alley. That transition from high banking to flat track is tough to make. And again, he was on the high line here. That's Kevin Foster to his inside, so he was kind of forced up a little bit high. David Leakey as well gets underneath when he was trying to go to the low line, and maybe a bit of a tap there. We'll have to get maybe a different camera angle, but yeah, David Leakey there, maybe the actual catalyst for that incident, but 3 drivers mainly involved. Gonna have to pick up on the other 2 there. One of them was the 5 car. That was Eric Andrews making tonight's rookie debut, one of 2 drivers in the field to be doing so. But we're going to see one more time. Yeah, I think there was a little bit of contact there from David Leakey there, just to the edge of his quarter panel, to give him that one last push up that may have already happened with how wide he was there, up into the outside wall there at Thunder Alley. And one more driver other than the 10 and the 5 car involved. And that'll bring out your 5th caution of the night.
5th caution of the night, and this is a really big one for these guys up front. Cody Welch and Nick Nickerson going to be the ones battling to this finish. Welch out front, Nickerson in second, and there isn't a race that has bigger playoff implications than this one. Nick Nickerson currently leading in points. Cody Welch sitting in second place right now, and Benjamin Lacey's in fourth place in points right now, as well as fourth place in tonight's race. The 04 Brett Guzik, 6 in points, third in tonight's race. So the top 4 drivers are really battling here. The only driver that is out of this battle that is in that top 4 is going to be Brandon Jackson. He's third in points and going to lose some tonight as he's down in 17th position right now. Definitely not the night that he has wanted in 17th. Ricky Hart Jr. coming down pit road right now, pitting from 9th position in your point standings. He is currently 5th place. So
I think it's going to be crucial, though, to watch how long he stays in the pit box, because if he does stay in there quite a long time and he pits for tires, maybe a controversial opinion, but a fresh tires car on the lead lap there, depending on what they do with lap traffic, this could be crucial. He is taking tires, so I don't think it's going to, if it fails, I don't think he's going to make the top 5. But if this works, and they do put him up at the front there with the rest of the cars there on the lead lap, and he's the newest tires of anybody in the field, Ricky Hart could surprise us out of nowhere and become the 4th different multiple race winner of the season. But I just want to mention one thing very quickly. It's one thing I've talked about all season whenever we watch him on Skype, but Nick Nickerson never seems to be phased. I mean, you watch him at the Roval, he looks like he's driving to the grocery store. The man just looks so comfortable. But on that last caution, right as it came out, seeing him on Skype, he had like a considerable kind of deep breath moment, took a deep breath, tried to recenter himself, recollect himself. You can tell he is putting everything he has into this battle with Cody Welch. And tonight, Cody's looking like the Nick Nickerson type. Looks comfortable there on Skype, looks composed. And man, the lap times these two are running, they have been slugging it out back and forth. But again, Evan, we've learned many times this year, these late race restarts, you can never count anybody out. So Brett Guzik, Benjamin Lacey, even Hunter Henry, who's had a great 17-spot gain from the beginning, up to 5th, may be able to factor here into the finish with only 6 laps to go, provided we don't get another caution.
yeah, this is going to be a big restart right here. And real quick, a question from the comments. Are the fake fans social distancing? They are not. I don't have that setting, so I can't provide that. That's something you're going to have to talk to iRacing about. I can only make them low quality or make them go away. I figured I'd have them, though. But I'm sure they're going to be on their feet and cheering for this final restart as the pace car heads off. 7 laps to go. The 85 car of Cody Welch with the jump. Going to have a big jump on Nick Nickerson. It's going to be single file between the 85 and the 2. Side by side for the 04 of Brett Guzik and the 7 of Benjamin Lacey. Brett Guzik going to come away with the position. Lacey going to be down to 4th position. Out front, though, the 85 of Cody Welch still out front. The 2 looking behind him. It looked like he wanted to go to the inside. He decided not to, but right on his rear bumper is the 2 car of Nick Nickerson, now looking to the inside. He's got his nose under there. He's going to have the position. The 2 car diving down low, but the 85 is going to have the momentum to carry him through the corner. The 85 car going to keep in the lead right now.
Well, let's say all the virtual fans are vaccinated, but this is the real social distancing at play here. Cody Welch trying to put himself more than 6 feet apart from Nick Nickerson, but that last time by, that was about how close they were coming down the front stretch. Nick Nickerson, a little bit of contact there with the outside wall, but keeps it clean. Going to lose about 3 or 4 tenths now, just outside of the window of the slipstream there in one straightaway. Of course, the shorter slipstreams here at Rockingham, you don't get quite as much time there down the backstretch, but he is doing his very best to keep it with him. Nick Nickerson really going to have to start sending it here. We saw him wash out there the last time by through 3 and 4. He's got to find a way to keep the grip there and keep that car on the inside line, but now coming to 3 to go. Cody Welch just over a minute if we don't get a caution here. Doesn't have to go much further. He's had a great race tonight, but man, if there again is one guy I don't want behind me in a spot like this, it is the Nick Nickerson car in the 2 entry. And man, now coming to 2 to go. Nick Nickerson not quite finding time, but not dropping back either. If he can put together 2 great laps that we saw earlier, this thing could not be over.
Yeah, Cody Welch, calm and collected, and that's a thing that is really hard to do in this position. 2 laps to go, and somebody that you know is as good as Nick Nickerson is behind you. It's really hard not to make a mistake, and right now Nick is just hoping that that 85 car makes a mistake somewhere. Maybe he drives it in a little bit too deep. He does something. The 2 car is just really hoping for a mistake.
He is indeed. White flag. One more lap to go. So this is officially it. One more flag will win the race. Can Nick Nickerson find anything necessary to take win number 7 on the season? Or is Cody Welch looking for win number 3? One more chance for the number 2 car. Can he get to the inside? The frame still has one car in it, and that is the 85, comfortably ahead out of the final corner. He had to talk the talk to avoid lap traffic, but now he will win the Rock. Cody Welch wins at Rockingham, win number 3 on the season, and he is smiling his head off there in Skype. He is happy with that, and what a deserved performance for him. Great race there by the top 2 guys. What a battle. Congratulations to those 2 gentlemen. Nick Nickerson, one of many podiums on the season, does exactly what he needs to in the championship points. And Brett Guzik in a late race battle with Benjamin Lacey will round off your top 3. Great performance from him. And Mason Flagar, former race leader, will get a great and solid top 5 to round off his night.
Saw big smiles from both of those guys as they crossed the finish line. And here now, let's pull up our race results for the Sandhills 125 at the Rock, presented by C&R Machining. Cody Welch in the 85 car, obviously going to be your winner there. You saw doing burnouts. Let's see if we can get a little bit better view of that. Nick Nickerson in the Arizona Motorsports car going to finish second, followed by Brett Guzik and Benjamin Lacey. Like you said, all top 4 of those guys in the playoffs. Rounding out your top 5, the 72 of Mason Flagar from Double M Motorsports, then Jason Greenwell in the 83, followed by Hunter Henry in the 94, a good run from him, then Trey Ellis in the 4 car. In 9th position, Ricky Hart Jr., the 64 car, your 5th playoff driver. Then Thomas Finsler in the 17 car to round out your lead lap cars and your top 10.
Benny Hogan tonight did everything he possibly could. Had such a great performance. He'll come home 11th in the end, the first driver off the lead lap. But man, it was a very deserved performance there. I think with a little bit different strategy, may have been able to do a little bit better than that. But great job there for the number 88 car. Tonight was a great race for him. Tony Hilbrands as well. The 92 car qualified there in 4th. Was on the same row. Had a great start to the race there. But again, this race is chaos. Just caught a few guys out. Connor Sawyer as well, former race restart leader. He kind of fell back after that, but again, will come home in 13th. Not a bad spot. Eric Andrews tonight, the highest scoring debut rookie. He'll come home in 14th. Kevin Foster as well. Kind of a guy that fell off the face of the earth there late, but he's doing donuts as we speak. The 8 car rounds off the top 15. Peter Murphy after that will come home in 16th. Brandon Jackson tonight, poor guy. Very disappointing performance by his standards, I'd imagine, but he had a end of the line penalty there to start. He had to go through a lot of lap traffic, had some tough incidents and some ill-timed cautions. That is not what he wanted to see. Fellow championship driver as well. Fellow driver in the playoffs, Garrett Hall, sitting there in 18th. Again, another rough night for the 2 of those guys. They're going to have some making up there to do in the final round of this playoff round at Talladega if they want to make those points up. And to round off the top 20, we got David Leakey in 19th and Matt Crockett in 20th.
Starting off 21st position. And the first driver 3 laps down is going to be the driver of the 11, Bill Harkins. You got Gary Wright in the 6, also 3 laps down. Following him, Charles Oberg in the 02 and 23rd. 24th, Mark Allen Bivens in the 76 car. Then you got Victor Weaver and Anthony Caetano in 25th and 26th. 27th is going to be Steve Ulrich. 28th is going to belong to Mitchell Sullivan in the 18 car. 29th, Eddie Hagge in the 97. Then you have Nick Dwarnick, Alan Castle, and Terry Condis to just go ahead and round off the field. 32 car of Terry Condis finishing in 32nd, not making the start tonight here at the Rock. So that's going to round everybody out. And real quick, one more shout out to C&R Machining. Thank you for sponsoring tonight's race. C&R Machining is a machine shop located in Troy, North Carolina, and they do work for some NASCAR teams and other shops. They provide pressure vessels to customers. Doesn't have any social media yet, but you can email him at crmachining@outlook.com. He has 20 years of experience. So a big thank you to Benny Hogan again for sponsoring. And real quick, we're going to head to a commercial as we get our top 3 pulled in to interview.
Got you already do.
Then gets Nick.
You didn't end it's grinding. Check it all out over at evanwallmedia.com. Thank y'all, and you enjoy the race.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and throw it down to Marshall Crocker, who is with your third place finisher, the driver of the 04 car, Brett Guzik. Go ahead, Marshall.
Hey, Brett, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me?
I got you guys.
Oh, first of all, man, congratulations coming away with a very clutch end of the race there, with coming away with the podium in a very crucial playoff round. I mean, as we can see there on the graphic, 4 top 5s in the season, 6 top 10s. You were no stranger to this part of the race order, but I think I would compare it most to another race this season when you were really great at Atlanta. I remember that was the one that really sticks out to me as another one of your top performances on the season, and that was a track really all about tire wear. By my standards, at least when I was practicing, I noticed Rockingham was a lot more about, the high banking. You could really send it in there into corners. It was all about learning the tracks. It's 2 very different skill sets. Would you say that this track was more about tire wear than we'd assumed? Or would you say that this track really appealed to your skills? Is there something about Rockingham that really works well with your style?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just very comfortable running the car straight, saving the front tires on the car. So just going through that race, maybe after lap, maybe 25 on a run, that's when I knew it was kind of go time a lot of the time on these green flag runs. We had a green flag cycle there in the middle. I had initially taken fuel there and tried to run long on the rest of everybody. So eventually I got on better tires than most people, and I drove it all the way up to, I think, second or something, or at least near there with next to Nick, I guess. And that's just kind of where my race kind of turned a little bit. After I got to that, it just kind of took a turn for a little bit worse. Obviously got damaged there on the one restart, and that kind of dictated where I ended up.
Right. I mean, you mentioned a couple of those other drivers there towards the front that you were battling with really all throughout the race that were all in different strategies, most of whom were your playoff adversaries. I mean, you're one of the 8 drivers left in the playoffs, not only one round to go or one race before the last cutoff of the season there. Next week we're going to Talladega, but some of those guys you were battling there with, guys like Nick and guys like Cody, you're battling with them in the points. You know that it's very close there between the top 5, top 6. Does that factor in your mind at all when you're up there towards the front? You're second on strategy, but you really got to figure out where you're going to sit. Are you one of those guys that gets a little bit more nervous, tries to keep it a little bit cleaner, maybe didn't want to battle for the lead there? Or were you really just throwing it at the wall, swinging for the fences, and hoping for the win there tonight? How did that affect your driving style?
Well, with that last run, or the last time we took tires, I was kind of about to swing for the fences. I was sitting behind the leaders. I knew if I just sat there for a little bit and then made my move, I could get past those guys. Short tracks are kind of my bread and butter, I would say. Tire tracks that wear out also. I feel like I could have gotten those guys. I just ended up with a little bit of radiator damage there at the end, and it kind of slowed me down a bit, and I wasn't able to utilize all the speed that I had in the previous run.
Right. That was a really unfortunate moment. I'd called it before. I was worried that with the driver ahead of you with older tires, you might risk getting checked up into, and of course that is how it turned out. But I think had that not happened, you definitely would have had a bigger part there towards the end there in that final stint to the end, and you were looking quick all throughout. So it was definitely a race to be proud of. It was something to go forward with holding your head high, and I think this will help you in the points. Some of the guys like Brandon, like Garrett, had some tough nights there in points, so this might work out great for you. But going into next week, again, that's the cutoff. That's the one that's for all the marbles. And you just talked about your experience and your specialty at short tracks and tracks that burn up the tires. The furthest you can possibly get from those 2 specialties is next week's final race of the round at Talladega Superspeedway. How are you feeling? Do you think it's going to be unpredictable? And what do you think that'll be to serve as our final race of the championship round?
Yeah, I really do think it's going to be unpredictable. I know in this beginning of this round, I haven't been able to salvage as many points as I would have liked. I started the round off, I believe, somewhere around 20 points behind 4th place. I know going into this, I was 22 points behind either Lacey or Ricky Hart as well. I knew that those guys weren't really going to make very many mistakes. I tried to do what I could, and ultimately I didn't get there, but I at least salvaged something solid.
Yeah, I know. I'd absolutely be proud of tonight's performance. Again, I wish I had the points for you to tell you, but you're going to be close. You're going to be in the running there, and really, I mean, Talladega, one of those tracks that anybody can put together a great race and win. But you proved tonight, and you proved at Atlanta earlier this season that you have that extra gear that a lot of guys might not have. So I wish you the best of luck going forward next week to Talladega. But as we always do in the interviews, this is your time. If you'd like to mention some sponsors, mention some people at home you want to give a shout out to, just whatever you feel like to end off your interview.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody watching tonight here on YouTube. I'd like to thank Evan Wall as well as you, Marshall, for helping kind of orchestrate this race, as well as Bill Harkins and Matt Crockett for everything that they do, admitting, Tony Hill Brands for race directing, just everybody who puts this deal together. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you too, Brett. Again, great job tonight, man. Congrats on the podium, second of the season, and I wish you the best of luck going forward and for your very crucial last round of the playoff round next week at Talladega.
Thanks.
That was Brett Guzik, driver of the 04 car. And down here, I'm going to see if I can grab Nick Nickerson. Nick, this is Evan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. This has got to be disappointing for you. As many, what I believe you were going for 3 in a row tonight. Now you're finishing in second position. You're getting interviewed by me instead of Marshall. On the season, you got a 46% win percentage. I mean, I guess you could get much better than that, but with nobody else having more than 2 wins on the season, you really can't get much better than that. Doing a great job on the season and just cementing your first place position up there. Kind of walk us through the race, and I guess just walk us through the race.
Man, it was going to be a good race between Cody and I. It was a good race between us. Everything turned around for me when I got a 4X coming out of 4. Somebody who was running the middle of the lane, and I was trying to keep it down and ended up rear-ending them. Didn't cause a caution, but kind of messed up my car for a little bit until I can get in the pits and get it fixed. And after that, I was just kind of stuck behind Cody. I made a few attempts, but I just there was no real good amount of time to see if I can save tires better than him, because it was just yellow. There's quite a few yellows towards the end there. Other than that, man, it was a fantastic race. Just a little heated about the incident points because, I'm really trying to bank as many points as I can before we went into Talladega. I guess 13 points right now is not too bad, but I was hoping to keep it at 20.
Yeah,
but all in all, man. Yeah.
You were definitely running him hard, and one of the best drivers when it comes to incident points. Last week you had 6, the week before that 2, then 0, then 10, and then probably 5 or 6 weeks in a row of 0 incident points. You only have, incident points per race, you have an average of 2, so doing a great job as far as it comes to incident points, but yeah, that can definitely hurt you. And as far ahead as you are in the point standings right now, I really don't know if you need it, but next week we do have a little bit of a track to shake it up, as we got Talladega coming up next week. You finished second at our last super speedway, I believe, so are you excited for Dega, or is that somewhere that worries you? Are you afraid you might fall back down that point standings a little bit?
I don't know. I mean, that's the biggest thing is, what if you get crashed out early and, you're last in the points and you get nothing, and then, Cody can go and finish, top 5 and take over the...
You there, Nick?
Oh, wow. I didn't realize I turned that off.
Oh.
So, what was I saying? What was the question again? About Talladega? How I feel about going to Talladega. Yeah, man, so I'm not sure how to feel about it because, I was just solely focused on just building up that points cushion because I can finish last and, Cody can finish like 7th and take over the points lead, and he's been just phenomenal these past few races and starting to worry me a little bit. And, I guess I'm just going to have to hope that we go in there and, Benjamin and Cody crash out and then I win the race. That'd be great.
Yeah, well, at the moment we've got a good battle there at the front of the points, but at least for you, you're up there on top of it, and after night you should still be up there on top of it, even though that gap is going to close just a little bit. But Is there anything else you want to go ahead and mention? This is your time to shout out anybody that you want to. You know how this works. You've been interviewed plenty of times. You know what to do.
Yeah, man. Just gotta thank Matt and Bill for all they do with this league, man, and all the guys that participate, man. It's a freaking blast, and this championship is gonna be crazy for a few of us that are gonna make it into the 4. Definitely looking forward to it, man, and I appreciate you and Marshall for putting on the broadcast, man. You guys do an awesome job.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As always, it's always a big thank you to all the drivers that go out there and put on a show, especially drivers like you and Cody for putting on such a good show tonight that we have something to enjoy up here in the booth.
Oh, yeah, man.
So that was driver of the number 2 car, Nick Nickerson. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw it down to Marshall, who is with your race winner.
Tonight's race winner indeed, Mr. Cody Welch. You got me here in the booth.
Yeah, buddy, I got you.
Awesome. Well, first of all, welcome for the 3rd time this season. You're the final interview of the night, and you do so at a track like Rockingham. Man, that is one of the ones that you really like to have on the calendar because it is a tough track. Rockingham is a little bit more asymmetrical. It's a little bit more out of the picture than most of the ones we're seeing. It's a lot more rare. Not a lot of series run it. Of course, NASCAR doesn't go here anymore, so it's one of those ones kind of in the backlog of tracks, one that only a few certain drivers would know. Were you kind of in that case going into tonight? Did you know the track pretty well, or were you just able to pick it up pretty quick? And what was it about it that clearly worked for you as well as it did tonight?
Yeah, well, I've raced the track a few times before. I would say I'm no expert at it, but yeah, everything just went really good for me. I found the bottom line to work the best, and you basically got to be on the apron all the way through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to be fast. And if you move up off of it, you start losing time. So I figured that out early on during the race, and did my best to just stay down there and stay out of trouble and get through the lap traffic. That was huge this tonight's race too. So.
Right, I was just about to say that seemed to be your biggest obstacle, besides, of course, Nick charging at you like a raging bull. But you managed to fend him off all throughout the race. But really, it was the lap traffic there. I saw you kind of on the Skype call. You were talking your way throughout it. How important is it to try to communicate with those lap cars throughout the race? And did you find it was pretty easy to get guys to part the ways you wanted?
For the most part, everybody did a really good job of staying out of the racing groove, getting around them. So, yeah, communicate with everybody. Obviously, my spotters helped me out, and a lot of it felt like luck, just being in the right place at the right time and getting to them at the right places, so they didn't slow you up too much because I knew Nick was right behind me. You know, once we started getting into lap traffic, I figured that would be a big key between me and him this race. So it just worked out for me in the end, and you know, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Speaking of that battle at the end, though, that was one of the most fun battles to the finish we've had all season. And yet again, we had those trademark kind of ending cautions that forced us into a late race battle for the win. But, you know, this really seemed different than a lot of our usual races. Again, the Skype call was really helpful tonight to kind of get a feel for the flow of the race, because normally we always show Nick on the Skype cam. He's looking nice and comfortable and composed, doesn't really seem to be phased at all. But tonight that kind of switched. When one of those late race cautions came out, we knew you'd be the race leader with like 6 to go. He looked a little bit frazzled. He looked like he was trying to do some deep rest, but all the way throughout, you just looked unfazed. You looked like you were locked in, dialed in, comfortable. Is there something to be said about, you know, running in the race lead for so much of the later portion of the race that even if you get a late race caution, you are as comfortable as you seem to be? Is there something to be said for that leading all those laps helps you later in the race in terms of keeping the nerves down?
I don't think it does. I was on that steering wheel, gripping it with everything I had. My knuckles were white the entire race. Even when I was up there in the front, I knew he was right behind me and fighting through, you know, lap traffic and all that, and just making sure I didn't blow a corner. That's all it would have taken. Nick was, you know, so good and so fast and so consistent, like he always is every week. So I was just, you know, white knuckling the wheel, just trying to, you know, hold the line down there at the bottom the best I could. So I really didn't feel comfortable until I took the checkered flag, to be honest with you.
Oh, I don't blame you. Hopefully you at least had fun. That it looked like a tough time and looked like quite the struggle. But again, you come out on top. You earned probably the most deserved win you've had all season. That was so much fun to watch. And I mean, next week it's crucial that you get a race win at a track here like Rockingham that you can really kind of lock down and run the best laps you can with all the practice you have, because next week we round off the playoff round at Talladega. Just to round it off tonight, just talk us through what are you expecting for a track as chaotic as Talladega infamously is? And the last time we went to a super speedway at Daytona to start the year, you unfortunately didn't finish the race. You took away fairly few points, and we've come full circle. You have 3 wins since then. What are you going to do to switch it up from the beginning of the championship? And just what are you expecting to round off this playoff round?
Well, hoping to get through Talladega with a fairly decent finish. It's, always a crapshoot at the super speedways. Everybody knows that. But, I'll just try to keep my nose clean and muscle through it and finish in the top 4 so we can at least go to the final round and battle it out. Got a couple mile and a halves that I feel like I'm really competitive at, and I've been working on my road course game as well. So watch out, Nick. But yeah, that's, just keep at it every race, sitting down, making the time to put practice laps in, learn the tracks and learn the fast groove and see where it goes.
Well, yeah, I don't know about you, but I feel like if you win at Road America, you've won a championship on its own right. That is an achievement to take away. And if you can get him there, I think you got him in the palm of your hand there for the season finale at Richmond. I think that'll get in his head more than anything. But besides that, I mean, both of you two, just exceptional races tonight, but you come out on top, get your 3rd win of the season. Just congratulations overall. But as we always do in the interviews, and for the 3rd time this season, you're the last one to do it tonight. If you want to talk about any sponsors, or if you want to give a shout out to anybody watching at home.
Big shout out to my spotter, Bryce Lewis, helped me out, get through the lap traffic and all that. Big help. Everybody that watches the broadcast, you guys for putting the broadcast on, and of course everybody, Bill and all the admins at Bandit Racing League for putting this stuff on. I love it. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I know you've always got great support here in the YouTube chat. They're talking all the way through the last couple of weeks, and you did them proud tonight. So congratulations, man. We'll see you next Wednesday at Talladega to round off the round. And with the performances you've been putting up, it feels almost criminal at this point there to not have you in the final round. So I wish you the best of luck, man.
All right, man. Thanks. We'll give her hell.
See ya.
That was Marshall Crocker with your race winner, Cody Welch. And that's going to do it for us here tonight at The Rock. If we pull up our schedule, you see next week we head to Talladega Super Speedway, 75 laps around the big Super Speedway in Talladega, Alabama, before the top 4 in points will advance into the next round. So a huge track for a cutoff race like that. It'll be a lot of fun next week. So make sure to join us next week. We'll go ahead and talk about the points after this race, then next week. But if you want to catch them early, you can go ahead and follow along to Bandit Racing League on Facebook. You can look them up on Facebook or Instagram. Driver of the 10-car, Matt Crockett, he does a whole lot of work to keep that Facebook and Instagram updated, or Bill Harkins does a lot of work to keep the website updated. It's banditracingleague.com, so banditracingleague.com or Bandit Racing League on Facebook or Instagram. You can find out that stuff, or if you want to look just at the points directly, danlisa.com, danlisa.com. You can type in Bandit Racing League and you can find the exact points that I look at. So that should be updated, honestly, probably in less than an hour if I had to assume, but at least by tomorrow. Points will be updated. You can check them out there. But be sure to join us next week as we head to Talladega. And that's going to do it. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching. Y'all all have a good night.